Welcome back to Crops the Natural Way, where we turn everyday items into extraordinary garden solutions. Today we're unveiling a powerful soil amendment that most gardeners toss in the trash without realizing its incredible potential to transform tired, depleted raised beds into thriving ecosystems bursting with life. If your raised beds have been underperforming, or your soil feels lifeless and compacted, the solution might be sitting in your kitchen right now, and it costs absolutely nothing. Unleashing your garden's hidden potential. Raised bed gardeners face a unique challenge that traditional in-ground growers never encounter. The closed system of a raised bed means nutrients deplete faster, organic matter breaks down more quickly, and soil structure deteriorates season after season. You've probably noticed the signs: plants that start strong but fade mid-season, leaves that lack the deep green color of healthy growth, and soil that compacts into hard clumps instead of maintaining that fluffy, crumbly texture that roots love. The conventional solutions involve purchasing expensive amendments, hauling in fresh compost, or worse, turning to chemical fertilizers that provide quick fixes while destroying the very soil biology that sustains long-term fertility. These band-aid approaches drain your wallet while failing to address the fundamental issue of soil regeneration. What your raised beds need is not more purchased inputs but rather a sustainable amendment that rebuilds soil structure, feeds beneficial microorganisms, and provides steady nutrient release throughout the growing season. The coffee ground advantage: more than just waste. Spent coffee grounds represent one of the most misunderstood and underutilized resources available to home gardeners, offering a remarkable combination of nutrients, organic matter, and soil conditioning properties that few amendments can match. These seemingly humble leftovers contain approximately 2% nitrogen, significant amounts of phosphorus and potassium, plus trace minerals including magnesium, copper, and calcium that plants require for optimal growth. The nitrogen in coffee grounds exists in a form that releases over time rather than all at once, providing sustained feeding that prevents the boom and bust cycles common with synthetic fertilizers. Beyond their nutrient profile, coffee grounds excel as a soil conditioner, with their fine particle size creating numerous surfaces for beneficial bacteria to colonize, while their organic compounds feed fungal networks essential for nutrient cycling. The persistent myth about coffee grounds centers on pH concerns, with many gardeners avoiding them based on misconceptions about acidity. Fresh coffee grounds register around 6.5 on the pH scale, placing them in the neutral to mildly acidic range, while used grounds measure even closer to neutral at 6.2 to 6.8 after the brewing process extracts most acidic compounds. This pH range suits the vast majority of garden plants, and the buffering capacity of soil means that reasonable applications of coffee grounds have negligible impact on overall soil pH. Research from Washington State University confirms that coffee grounds improve soil structure without causing pH problems, while studies from Ohio State University document enhanced plant growth in beds amended with spent grounds. The real magic happens below the surface, where coffee grounds transform soil physical properties by increasing porosity for better root penetration, improving water retention to reduce irrigation needs, and providing carbon-rich organic matter that serves as food for the entire soil food web. From bean to bed, applying coffee grounds safely is all about using the right method. Success with coffee grounds depends on proper application methods that integrate them into your soil system rather than creating problems through misuse. The most effective approach involves mixing coffee grounds into the top 2 to 4 inches of soil in your raised beds, where they interact with existing organic matter and soil organisms rather than sitting as a surface layer that can compact and repel water. For established beds during the growing season, work grounds into the soil around plants at a rate of about 1 cup per 4 square feet every 2 to 3 weeks, making sure you mix them in rather than just leaving them as mulch. When preparing beds between seasons, incorporate larger amounts of up to ½ an inch spread across the bed surface and turned into the top layer, where they'll decompose over winter and release nutrients for spring planting. Creating coffee ground compost tea offers another application method that delivers immediate benefits while avoiding any potential issues with direct application. Steep 1 cup of used grounds in 5 gallons of water for 24 hours, strain out the solids, and apply the resulting liquid directly to soil or as a foliar spray. This method extracts water-soluble nutrients and beneficial microbes while leaving behind compounds that require longer decomposition. The solid grounds remaining after steeping still contain value and can go into your regular compost pile or be worked into paths and non-planting areas where they continue improving soil over time. So, the critical mistakes to avoid include applying thick layers of grounds as surface mulch, which, creates a water-repellent barrier once dry. Also, adding massive amounts all at once can temporarily tie up nitrogen as decomposition begins. Coffee grounds really work best as one component of a diverse organic matter strategy, rather than as your sole amendment. It's much better to combine them with other materials like finished compost, shredded leaves, or aged manure to create balanced nutrition and optimal soil structure. And, never use moldy grounds in your garden, since the mold species growing on old coffee can include types that harm, rather than help your soil ecosystem. Witness the transformation. Real-time results are actually pretty remarkable. The impact of coffee ground amendments becomes visible within weeks of application, with both above-ground plant responses and below-ground soil improvements demonstrating their effectiveness. You'll notice that plants growing in coffee-amended beds display deeper green foliage as nitrogen becomes available, and this color change usually appears first in new growth before spreading to established leaves. Root development increases dramatically as improved soil structure allows roots to penetrate more easily and access water and nutrients from greater volumes of soil. Side-by-side trials conducted over multiple seasons consistently show coffee-amended beds producing plants with thicker stems, more extensive branching, and increased flowering compared to unamended controls. Perhaps the most telling indicator of coffee ground success appears in earthworm populations, which invariably surge in beds receiving regular applications. These vital soil engineers consume coffee grounds along with other organic matter, producing castings that further enhance soil fertility while their tunneling activity improves drainage and aeration. Research from Cornell University documents earthworm population increases of 50 to 100% in beds, amended with coffee grounds, with the worms drawn by both the grounds themselves and the explosion of microbial life that grounds support. This microbial response represents the true power of coffee ground amendments, as bacteria and fungi populations multiply when given this carbon-rich food source, accelerating decomposition of other organic matter and making nutrients available that were previously locked in unavailable forms. The science underlying these transformations centers on coffee grounds' perfect carbon-to-nitrogen ratio of approximately 20:1, which microorganisms require for efficient decomposition and nutrient cycling. As microbes consume coffee grounds, they reproduce and die in continuous cycles, with their bodies becoming part of the soil organic matter and their activities releasing plant-available nutrients. This biological feeding frenzy improves soil aggregation as microbial byproducts glue soil particles together, creating the crumbly structure that characterizes healthy soil. Water infiltration and retention both improve as aggregation increases pore space for water movement, while organic matter acts as a sponge holding moisture between irrigation events. Sustainable growth, unparalleled yields. Adopting coffee grounds as a regular soil amendment really moves your garden toward true sustainability by closing nutrient loops and, reducing dependence on purchased inputs. Americans generate millions of tons of coffee grounds each year, and, honestly, the vast majority goes to landfills where they just decompose without benefit while generating methane, which is a pretty potent greenhouse gas. Diverting even a fraction of these grounds into gardens prevents waste while creating fertility that would otherwise require mining, manufacturing, and transporting commercial products. Local coffee shops often provide free grounds to gardeners, offering quantities that individual households could never generate while building community connections between urban businesses and food growers. The yield improvements from coffee-amended beds compound over seasons as soil health increases and beneficial organisms establish permanent populations. First-season benefits include better germination rates, faster early growth, and reduced transplant shock as improved soil structure supports root establishment. Subsequent seasons show increased drought tolerance as organic matter levels rise, enhanced disease resistance, as beneficial microbes outcompete pathogens, and steadier production as nutrient availability becomes more consistent. Tomatoes, peppers, leafy greens, and root crops all respond positively to coffee ground amendments, with particular benefits for heavy feeders that demand consistent nutrition throughout long growing seasons. The transformation of your raised beds through coffee ground amendments represents more than improved yields or reduced costs. This practice connects you to cycles of renewal and regeneration that sustain all healthy ecosystems, turning what society considers waste into fertility that grows food for your family. Subscribe to Crops the Natural Way for ongoing guidance in sustainable gardening practices that honor both traditional wisdom and modern soil science. Share this information with fellow gardeners seeking to revitalize tired beds and build soil that improves year after year. Together we're proving that the most powerful solutions often come not from garden centers or chemical companies, but from reimagining the resources that surround us every day. Your raised beds are waiting for their coffee ground transformation, so start collecting those grounds and, hey, watch your garden reach new heights of productivity and health.